بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome all of you, wherever you are, and welcome you again with your program Fatwa Life. The first question a woman is asking: my husband, he don't pray on time and he missed some prayers. He sometimes don't pray for a long time. Could take a month before he pray one. And sometimes he will go like 1 or 2 weeks on time and then he will get depressed and then he will stop praying. He does not say it is okay. He does not deny the existence of the salah or its obligation, but he don't like to talk to me with it at all. I tried several times over years to help him on himself on in any way, and with threat that I will leave him with no effect. I always ask Allah Azza wa Jal that Allah will help him in the prayers. We've been uh, married for 10 years. We have one son and one daughter. As of the father, he is a good father, very good father. My question: can I continue in this marriage in Islamic way, and he does not pray, or like almost does not pray, as laziness, not as denying to his obligation? In that exists that he is a disbeliever and he cannot marry a Muslim woman. I need something that's going to satisfy my heart. I've been years, I feel guilty and I feel pain and sin to continue in this marriage. I'm an immigrant outside Egypt, and I do not work. I don't have any income except him. And collapsing this house is very hard, and Allah knows. The answer, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, to call someone a disbeliever who do not pray but does not say it's not obligatory is something of a debate between the scholars. They all agree that whomever denied its obligation, he disbeliever. But those who leave it as laziness, they are different. But what it looks, Wallahu alam, that whomever prays sometimes and leave it sometimes, he is from the committers of the big sins. He is under Allah's will. If he wish, he will punish him, or if he wish, he will forgive him. But does not become a disbeliever unless he claims that it is not an obligation, or to completely leave it like don't pray at all. He did not make any sujood in his life at all. For a lot of scholars, he is disbeliever because Allah Azza wa Jal said, Allah does not forgive that he will be partners with, and he forgive anything beyond that to whom if he wish. The difference between the two conditions, this is the choice of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, Allah have mercy on him. He said in his big fatwas, whomever insists to leave the prayers, do not pray at all, and he dies on that insistence, he is not a Muslim. But like a lot of people pray sometimes, these are do not keep it, and they are under the threat of Allah. These the one that Allah has brought in the hadith from the Prophet ﷺ. 5 prayers Allah has written on his servants in the day and night. Whomever done them, he has a promise from Allah and to enter him Jannah. And whomever did not keep them, there is no covenant between him and Allah. If he wish, he will punish him, and if he wish, he will forgive him. This is the choice of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy. So he was asked about that, and he said, "What looks to me that he does not become a disbeliever." He was asked about someone who pray every once in a while. So he said, "What it looks like, he does not become a, except keep to live completely, where he don't pray at all. But what he pray every once in a while, he does not become a disbeliever because the Prophet ﷺ said, between the man and shirk and kufr, leaving the prayers. He did not say leave any one prayer. He said to leave the prayer at all. This is the absolute. That's why he said between the conflict between us and them is at the prayers. Not one prayer is the whole prayer. So those who pray sometimes, he's not a disbeliever. So from this detail, so she can leave him if she wanted to do that. If she went with that, she is not who asked the divorce with no reason. There is a reason because he is losing one of the biggest obligation to Allah. And she could also have the choice to leave, stay with him, to be free from his action if she have to, or her best interest in her kids to keep that household with continuous advice in him and fear him with Allah Azza wa Jal, and to make dua for him that Allah will return him back to her, to make him back to Allah with the prayer. The second question, one of the people asking, my father, may Allah have mercy on him, he has a shop. He rented to somebody. This renter do not pay the electricity or water. My father died. We cannot take from the renter any money. He left the place and left. So someone came to buy the shop. Are we gonna get sent about the water and the electric? Do we have to tell them that? It's not our responsibility. Well, my brother, Assalamu alaikum, you need to understand you are selling something with debt on it, with a lien on it. It's, Hakim al Hazam said that the choice between that sellers, if they are truthful and they cleared, Allah will bless in their selling. If they lied and they hid, Allah will destroy that blessing. So if that place has bills that has to pay, and the management is going to, and the electricity and the water will go after the new seller or whomever is the owner, whether your father has forgive him in his life or he was quiet about it for whatever reason. You have to tell the buyer about this so he does not find or be surprised with an expense that is not there. So Allah also will not. So Allah will continue blessing that sale. Because if they hide or lied, then Allah will not bless that sale. The second question, PE teacher, physical education teacher, as asking about in the school, can you train the boys and girls in the same time in the same place, knowing that you separate with them? He always try to separate between them, so none of them will touch the other. And if there a sin, if he have to take that job, we tell him what you are mentioned is not on the origins of what the Prophet ﷺ taught us. It is one way to lead to the fitna, to the affliction. you have to separate between the men and women. And the American Jurist Muslim Association, they say about the woman and her training. I will tell you and then we'll inshallah comment on it. The decision says originally that woman to practice PE is allowed and could be encouraged if she had good intention, and but she have to cover her private parts and to be show respect. So the first thing she has to cover her private art and not to take the body where it shows the private part. Whenever you walk, you don't have to show anything. But other sports, the woman should not be practiced in front of people without her husband or brother is there. And her private part is her whole whole part, whole body. But with walking, there's not a problem. She have to also stay away from the sport that is violent. Does not uh, does not complement the femininity of the woman. Also, not to continue doing this where you take too much time in playing the sport and not to have your rights toward your husband or the kins or the main one, the religious obligation of prayers and so on. And also to have the good characters. And it has to be away from gambling or the wrong beds. This is the ideal way for women to practice sports. And what is it cannot be taken with the heart. So give them the advice to separate between the two sexes. If they agree, that's fine, alhamdulillah. But if they refuse and you need that work, you have no other option, so try to eliminate the wrongdoing by trying to put and seriously when you talk to the other sex and to encourage not to look and to cover the parts. Maybe your existence in that place it will be more good for goodness than others who do not care about religion and don't have any respect to Allah. And if you have another replacement that's going to avoid you all these dilemmas, it is better for you. And Allah knows the best. Another question. I'm a doctor of nutrition. I work in a private clinic. Sometimes I get a lot of cases of too thin or too fat. Men and women is working with ladies haram. I'm sitting on my desk and I have uh, a pen and paper and I write all the data and I take all these measurements by another person who takes a woman, not a man. And we talk about the dates of the obesity and what types of food, just like any doctor who take, and I give a program to eat, so she will follow. That's all what happened at work. It's all about. Does not have anything that you didn't say anything wrong. Do not sit privately and no touching. It's that kind of work that haram. The answer, the fiqh is international committee, they have a decision about the man treating a woman. I will give you the. They will say what we could comment on it. Originally, if there is a doctor, female doctor that's special, she is the one who need to look at that patient. If not, then a woman doctor, even non-Muslim. If that's not there, then a Muslim doctor, and there is no doctor Muslim, there is be another doctor who is not a Muslim, and he look at the woman's body, the part that is needed in diagnosing the uh, sickness and the medicine, and to keep away from looking, and it has to be with the, another person in the room, so there will be no seclusion. These are the rules in the Islamic rule that is have the Sharia. But and when we talk about the existence of non-Islamic area, like for those who live outside Muslim countries, there is no practice of Islam to begin with, and there is no restriction on Sharia. So originally, you have to fear Allah Azza wa Jal as much as you can, and to do your best to reduce the bad things as much as you can. Because to stop doctor from to deal with a woman makes him stay away from being a doctor. To stop a Muslim doctor not to treat with women, that could lead for him to leave that completely, or make it very hard on him that he cannot do. So I hope that you have the reason of what you have mentioned of restrictions with the existence of a nurse, man or woman, that will stop the seclusion, as we said. Another question: Is there is it required to have the walima of the wedding to slaughter, or you could have a different types of meat like chicken or beef? The sunnah happens with any food. It does not even have to have the meat in it. Today, in our society, we bring uh, could have ghetto cake or something. It is, of course, prior to make a walima, even if it is one. But the sunnah, if you feed any food, whatever that food is, and whatever the choice of meat, it depends on what you can do or what you want to do. Allah does not obligate you more than you can. What is recommended, if you can, to have a lamb, because the Prophet ﷺ said to Abdurrahman ibn Auf, make a walima, make a feed, even if it is one shah, one lamb. And if he did beside it, he have existed the sunnah. The sunnah is to feed, because Anas said the Prophet ﷺ did not make a walima on his woman. Zayd was Jahsh. When Zayd left, Allah married her, so it will be no burden on the believers from their wife after they finished. So he did Asha. And you could have any types of meat if it is better for the people that you call, and it's easier on the person who's making the walima. And this is open. The Prophet ﷺ made a walima with hais when he made the Safiya, it's just date that is added with G and uh, some kind of sweet.
وإذا تكون كريهة أدعى لها وإذا يحاس الحيس يدعى جنده وإذا تكون كريهة أدعى لها وإذا يحاس الحيس يدعى جنده قال هذا لمن يذكر عند الشدة وينسى عند الرخاء لا إله إلا الله
عليه الصلاة والسلام.
النبي صلى
So
الله
the
عليه
Prophet
وسلم
ﷺ,
يعني أولم
he made the
الحيس
walima with Hais in
على
his
صفية
marriage to Safiya.
ففي رواية البخاري
In Bukhari from Anas
اعتق صفية
that he freed Safiya and then he married her
وجعل عتقها
and
صداقة
he made her freedom as her sadaq and he made walim of Hais.
يريد أن يكون الصداق
So it could be
منفعة مقومة
the
بالمال
dowry could be a
لا
benefit.
يريد أن يكون نقدا
It doesn't.
شيء مادي محسوس يقع
It has to be something physical.
العبد الصالح
The righteous
أنكح كليم الله موسى بنت
person
إبراهيم
that he gave
فإحدى
Musa
بناتي هاتين
to marry
أجرني ثمان
one of his daughters, so for a service.
أحسنت عشرا كمن عندي وزوج رجلا بما معه من القرآن
And the Prophet ﷺ, he allowed someone to marry from what he had from the Quran.
وعن صفية
From Safiya bint Shayba, may Allah be pleased with her, she said, the Prophet ﷺ made walima with some of his women, with some barley. So that showed
وهذا يدل على الحرص
the
على وليمة
the concern about the walima,
اليد
to
فرغم
eat,
استعداد يد
no matter what is the condition.
لم يهمل هذه السنة
He alayhi salatu did not stop it.
هذا دليل على أن الوليمة
So the walima could be with anything from the food.
فهي على قدر استطاعة الإنسان لينفق من سعته من سعته ومن قدر عليه رزقه فلينفق مما آتاه الله لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما
Allah
آتاها
does not give you overburden you with anything. Allah will make after hardship ease.
أسئلة اليوم
Today's question came to us.
أيما أفضل
Which was better,
تصدق ببناء
to give charity for
المهجرين
building of a masjid or for the Iraqi refugees? Somebody said that from Dallas.
الذي يظهر في الجملة والله أعلم
Well, it looks to me
تصدق
to give charity to the immigrants who live in a place that are in Iraq or others. It is prior and most stressful because the masjid in this country it's abundant and the people can do their need in the masjid in so many areas to ride and go to a different masjid. Sometimes it will be an area. It was said to us, there's no masjid at all.
ولا تقام فيها الجمعة
And then a Jum'ah or congregation was, and there is, mashallah, a big number of Muslims. They need to start the Jum'ah and congregation to establish this masjid. This is something that's obligation. So it differs from the difference of area. If it is masjid that is required, there is no other masjid beside it, and it's the only way to establish the prayers and Jum'ah, then it is with that condition, it is more prior to do the masjid. But in general, to help the needy, it is much better than to build, with the exceptions, and you have to look at each one individually.
بحالها وعلى حدتها والله تعالى أعلم.
A man, he got the last rak'ah of Maghrib after he finished the prayer. the Imam combines Isha. Can I, after pray Maghrib, can I pray with them? Yes. Your rule is just like the people of the masjid. So you reach the last rak'ah, and then you came with two rak'ahs, and you continue with the Isha. So you get the same rules of the Muslim congregation in this masjid, and you follow the congregation. Now, if I leave my prayers with Maghrib and I prayed Isha, and after that I pray Maghrib, is that good? No. It is prior for you to continue the Al Maghrib, so you do not void your action. So finish it. If you finish, then you enter the Isha. That's what is allowed for you. But if you don't with no knowledge, inshallah, your prayer is good. Inshallah. So the rule is is there after it is received and clarified to you. And another question: someone who is accused of uh, is he is accused of a big crime of corruption. Can he blame this on his brother who deceased? No, no. You have to use the right ways to get rid of this, and you consider whatever you had, any hardship, it is as a kafar in this life. Wallahu alam. A question: can sell the dogs for need like by raising them and then develop someone who is selling dogs? I use the option that is allowed to have the dogs, like guards or so on. The scholars they are agreed that the money for the dogs is forbidden. The dogs is not an Islamic culture. This is something from the West. Our Islamic history has nothing to do with it. The Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the angel will not enter a house that has dogs or a picture. But they put an exception from forbidding the dog. What is the Prophet ﷺ said? Mother had a dog, except one for hunting or the shepherd. He will leave two qirat, like each one the amount of ahad. So some of the scholars, you have to mention that, and what other opinion, if it deserves to look. Some of the scholars you can deal what you can have of the dogs for hunting and other selling and buying, and it is halal. They have, it's not something weird, no. And some people say it is what is recommended because the Prophet ﷺ, he has forbidden the money of the dog except the one of hunting. But I would love for you to to be guard and stay away from the disputed matters. stay away from with this one. You go through the filth. Ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give you His wealth from the thing that He forbid. A question about the loan to buy a house so you could use it at work. If you have the Islamic alternative, then don't have any other alternative beside them. What any contract that require extra is riba, that is forbidden in Islam. The Islamic loans, they give you exist the he will buy it murabaha, which is to buy, and he will sell it for a higher price with payments. He is a seller, not a loaner, and was considered for that. He don't sell it to you unless he really owns it, and he's responsible for the damage before he's shown. This is to deal with Islamic bank, even though from the east, and the Islamic alternatives are much bigger and easier. As they say, it's full of doubt. When you look at the needs, the rules of the degrees, needs, after agreeing that the interest is forbidden and the loans in those banks are forbidden. Are you a person of need? Well, it will be so we take you to the existing mufti, expose your matter, and be truthful to him. Another option about using the coins, the cyber currency. We have said before, we said that Amja made that rule. It is too early to adopt a final decision on this matter. Bitcoin and any other thing closer. And we said whomever refused except to deal with it, he had the rules of the currency. If you have to own, and there is nothing wrong with the difference. But lately, there's a decision. It is forbidden all these currency from the international Muslim fatwa. I would have prepared it for you, but I just found out about it. After studies and search, I came that it's forbidden to deal with these bitcoins. I take the exception of the needies. Maybe in next time we meet, inshallah, I will prepare that for you. Someone who was married 20 years ago. My wife, she insists on the divorce. How do I count the alimony? Does she really get half of my money when divorced? Because this is the law of the Qatar. The divorcee, if she had the following right. She had the return of her dowry. During the period, she had the alimony of the adda. She had the muta, which is a giving, financial one, given to the woman to condone her what she go through. There is no specific number. What is that equal to? The Azhar in Egypt of the amount of 2 years, and that could take up to 5 years. These are the rules of the divorcee. If she is breastfeeding, she gets money for the breastfeeding. In general, are the rights of the divorcee. But to get half of the money, no. This is not the rule of Islam. What Allah descended. Whomever enter people's money to take it, he took one of the things that will take his religion. So each one needs to be careful in that thing. I mean, a question. I heard from one of the sheikhs of Azhar saying any contract does not fulfill the Sharia and law, it is a bad decision. So what do you want from this introduction? That can the man who wants to have different women and have to marry a second, and that contract is not correct from the law, isn't it wrong from Islamic point of view? Because from fatwa that she heard, for that to be right, it has to be civil and the Sharia. So we tell her, may Allah be blessed with you. I understand the jealousy that you go through. And I hope that you will have, if it is within your natural feelings, that's fine. Any woman don't like have partners except herself with her husband. But be careful not to allow that to deteriorate. So it will reach the hatred what Allah has said on His book and the Prophet ﷺ. There's different when you think hard of it to hate it in a natural way, but to deny it as the shar of the law of Allah. Allah has allowed that 2, 3, or 4, and if you feel, then 1. And then he showed what is this intended. But what the heart follows is not a condition. Allah said, and you cannot be even with women even if you tried. So do not go and leave her like she's hanging in there. The Prophet ﷺ, the best of, who was very just in the way he deal with his wives. And he to say to those he is liking for Aisha, oh Allah, this is what I divide from what I own, and I ask you for forgiveness for what you owned and I don't own. This is a human need in some areas, especially with the number of women more than 3 to 1, and the spread of the Muslim need to avoid disobeying the law to make sure you protect the money of the locals. But Islamic uh, the Islamic institution don't have that right to correct what is wrong, because your good health, it is, there's rules that guide that,
إلى الشرع المطهر وليس إلى جهات تشريعية بشرية
and not to a
شرعية.
human
الحجة
self-made.
القاطعة والحكم الأعلى هو
The
شرع
high
الله.
ruler
الحلال
is
ما
the
أحله الله ورسوله، الحرام ما حرمه الله ورسوله، الدين ما شرعه الله ورسوله. من أحل
the religion of what
الحرام
Allah and
منهم
His Messenger
أو
allowed or
حرم
did.
الحلال
Whomever
منهم
forbid what is
أو بدل
combined to be
الشرع
the
فيه
halal,
فعليه
this
فقد
is a
خلع
person
ملة
that's taken
ورسول الإسلام
the
من
Islam from
أصله.
his
هذا
soul.
العقد يا سيدي
So
إذا
this contract by
اجتمعت
itself, it is a correct
إذا
one
اجتمعت فيه
if it
الأنصار
has the
والقرية وعلى
good
من أنشأه تبعه مخالفة
rules.
القوانين، التصادم مع الظروف السائدة،
And it should
لا
not go
يتعدى
with
بعد ذلك
of going against the government or corruption. The last question:
الاستخدام
can using
مبادرة البنوك المركزية
the
الشرعية
central banks in the east that they give a lower,
بغرض التشغيل الصناعي
so you could work onto
الواقع
the
أن
factory,
القرض الذي
the
فرضت فيه
condition that has
من
increased
القروض الربوية
from the riba,
فائدة فائدة كسبان،
whether the interest is high or
والأصل في
less.
القروض الربوية الفساد والتحريم، وأنها من كبائر الذنوب، وأنه
So
لا يترخص في الاقتراض الربوي إلا تحت وطأة الضرورات أو الحاجات العامة التي تنزل منزلتها، وعلى صاحب المادية أن يضمن للمفتي المقابل له لتقدير ضرورته أو حاجته التي تنزل منزلتها.
سبحانك سبحانك الحمد لله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
لا نكتفي